Hi guys, welcome back to Not Another Budget. I'm Nicole, and I thought today for my second video I would do a September goals setup and then also a week 1 September budget. So I have a lot of debt, which you'll have seen if you've seen my debt confessions video. If you haven't, please feel free to check it out. And I would say that my journey with budgeting is I love doing a budget. I love the nerdiness of doing a budget, and I like looking at what could go where. My ability to stick to a budget, however, is lacking. But as I've said, nothing else I've tried has worked. So I would be not doing myself any favours if I immediately just gave up. And things need to change, and that's really obvious in my debt confession, and there are things that need to be done. So I have no savings, so there's nothing there to draw from, and I have no existing lines of credit, so there's nothing that's going to be rolled over onto a credit card. So the only little bit of prep I've done is I have highlighted my budget categories, and then I've also set up my September goals and my September overview. So let's start there. This is going to be probably a little bit long, and I need to remember that I need to keep myself focused and on track because I'm a little bit of a waffler and I love going off on tangents. So let's first of all go to my September page. I got a little bit excited with washi tape. I'm trying to utilise tools that I have. I have done a little bit of an Etsy budgeting shop, nothing too horrendous. But yeah, I can't really be spending to save money, if that makes sense. So I don't really set goals for myself. I struggle to stick to them. I'm neurodivergent, which means that I view time as now and not now, which is why going forward, I'm going to be doing a weekly budget. And that's also very much in line with how I get paid and how I receive my money. What I'm hoping I can try and do is to use these list of goals to really drive the reason for my budget and what I'm doing and why. I've never done this before, not very effectively. I've played around with budget sheets and budget methods, and I've listened to various podcasts and watched other YouTubers. But budgeting is really personal, and as someone with a brain that doesn't quite work the same way as everyone else's, it's some things that probably seem really simple, like paying bills on time, are a real struggle for me. So without further ado, let's get to September, which is my one of two favourite months in the year. So this is going to be really rambly, I'm sorry. I'm really glad I'm not showing my face right now because I'm so nervous. So I've got a few goals, and these are in no particular order. There's no major one. Well, that's a lie. There's a couple that are a bit of a priority. So the big one is I'd like to pay all my bills on time this month. You'll have seen from my debt confession that a large amount of my consumer non-priority debt is where I've not been able to make bill payments on time. The subsequent policy, if it's insurance, for example, has then been cancelled, and then they're after me for either the entire outstanding amount or just whatever I owe up to a point. So I'd love to be able to pay all my bills on time. That's a big one this month, and that's going to be quite hard for me to do because I'm not 100% sure when all of my bills come out, which you'll see in my budget later. I'd like to set up some sinking fund binders. Do excuse me, that's either thunder or an aeroplane outside because I live close to both a railway and a military base, so sometimes things get a little bit loud around here. I'd like to set up my sinking fund binders. There may not necessarily be any cash stuffing. That's because actually the priority this month is to get current on my BT bill. So ideally I'd like to hit Anglian Water as well and at least make a start on that. But BT really is the priority because from the 25th of September, charges will start to be applied to that account again. So I'd like to get that done before then. So I'd like to get current on my BT bill, set up my sinking fund binders, which I have sort of done. So that's kind of half done. But I do need to order some more supplies. Pay all my bills on time. I'll only be able to really judge this one at the end of the month. But I'll be checking in weekly because I will be doing a budget weekly and maybe a cash stuffing weekly as well if there is cash to stuff. I'd like to destash my wardrobe on Vinted. I need to get cash in relatively quickly. And that in part is to help me get current on my bills, but also to start stashing some of my sinking funds, as you will see, which I may go through in this video, or if this gets too long, there'll be another one. So I'd like to destash my wardrobe on Vinted. I've got a lot of clothes that I can do and sell, and shoes and accessories and things, and it's about time I really did do this. There's money to a certain extent sitting in my wardrobe, so it would be great to kind of extract it. And now there's this one, and this one is a little bit heartbreaking for me. I have a background in costume design. I'm a fully qualified, trained costume designer, and I have worked in mainly contemporary film in the past, although that's not where my real love is. And when you work in an industry like that, you accrue things. For varying reasons that I may get into at some point or may not, I'm not returning to that industry. So all of the miscellaneous costume stock and accessories and kit that I have accrued is all sitting up, taking space in my house, and it is not good for me, both emotionally, mentally, or physically, to have that stuff in my space. It's also money, and I could do with a lot of that right now. So I'd like to list all of the stock to sell. There's obviously no guarantee once you list things here and on here that actually it may sell quickly or not. My hope is that it would. But I do have intentions and a plan for what I want to do with those, with any money I accrue from these outside of my budget. And finally, this is a little bit of a luxury. I'm not going on holiday. I have a 1 week annual leave booked at the end of this month. The original plan for that annual leave was to winterfy the house, get everything kind of cleaned and sorted, and just potter around and have some time at home. I have since found out that I have family visiting from Australia, including young cousins who I haven't met for the very first time, who want to do things like Harry Potter World and go to London and do all sorts of activities. And that's going to cost money, and that was not money that I'd planned for. So this is how recently I found out. Last night I set up my sinking funds. There was no annual leave sinking fund. As soon as I'd finished setting it up and writing this out and planning, I found out. It's a double-edged sword. It's one of those things where it's going to be great to see these people, these family members, but it's going to cost me money that I don't have and hadn't planned for. And it's going to use annual leave that I had not intended to go sightseeing on or playing tourist. But what can we do? We will see. I would like to save £200 cash. Historically, whenever I've had annual leave or gone on holiday, I've never saved for it, and I have ended up not paying bills and falling behind on things to be able to afford to do something, because planning and time is not my friend. So those are my goals this month. And in terms of events, I'm waiting to hear back from my hairdresser who does home visits. Either the first or second week of September, I would like to get a haircut. I am growing my hair, so it will only be a trim and a tidy. So I would estimate no more than £15 for that one. I've not allowed for it in my upcoming budget for this first week because, well, again, I've not heard back from her, but I can pull the money from a spending category if needed. And then again, there we can see at the end of the month, the cousins are over from Oz for annual leave. I've prepped a summary for total money in, total money saved, and total debt paid, just so that it will force me to go back and reflect. Now, in terms of my income, I have 3 different revenue streams. So I have 2 employers in the UK. Both are part-time. One is a 16-hour contract and one is a 20-hour contract. I get paid from one employer on the 27th of each month and one on the 14th of each month. In this area, unless in the area where I live, and I'm not going to disclose where that is, unless you're working within tech or biomedical fields or high-end administration, there's a real shortage of full-time employment for just a normal person like myself. Although my field and my training is the arts, this is not an area where the arts is particularly dominant, and I'm not currently in a position to relocate to that. And I don't know what my future holds in terms of working and continuing to work in the arts and within creative industries as a whole. At 30, I am completely burned out and done. However, I have a great network of contacts and I've spent a lot of time fostering relationships. So I do weekly freelancing, and that is product photography for a local vintage fashion company. I can do that from my home, and I check over the garments, and that is weekly. So that is paid weekly upon invoice. So this wasn't here before this month, and that really has made a difference because my wages just cover everything, but there's no room for savings or debt payoff. So this really has opened everything up. I've also included, obviously, Vinted if I make any money from there, and then stock from the sale of stock. But typically we're only going to be dealing with 2 times wages and 1 times freelance. So that is my September overview, if you're all with me so far. So we'll just pop that to one side for now. So these are the printable worksheets from the Budget Mum. I bought them back in January. I've kind of been playing around with them. Do apologise for the shaky camera or the shaky table, which is why the camera is shaking. I've been playing around with them, and I've not bought her entire workbook. I don't have the funds to do that. And also I like the guidance of a structure so far, but there's definitely things that I would change. Don't worry, this isn't a please plug my Etsy shop channel. I think there are enough small businesses out there who produce great products within the UK, either through Etsy or not on Etsy, and I just don't have the time or the inclination to go creating anything like this. I have my little sinking fund folders, which are fine for me, but no, I will be either continuing to use this, or if someone else has a better worksheet, I will go and use that instead. Same for like savings challenges. Oh, what was that? Same for like savings challenges and stuff like that. But anyway, let's get on to my budget. So for week 1, it is from the 1st to the 7th of September. So I go Thursday to Wednesday, mainly because I like the fact that things are starting on the 1st. So I've already received a wage from one of my employers last week, which is why you're not going to see a lot of bills, so to speak, because I basically played around with how I've set this up last week to see how it would work. And I've just realised I've said last week, though. So the only thing I've prepped is what is potentially coming in. Oh, and I've just also been notified as well that I have another one as well. So this is all live. I have the numbers in my head, but I I'll be deciding what I'm doing with my money. So I've submitted an invoice for £93, so I know that's coming in. I am carrying over £9. I'm expecting nothing from matched betting. If you are interested in what that is, please go and look at Profit Accumulator. It's not for everyone, and I've only really kind of dipped in and out of it, but there is an element of risk. Sometimes you do lose money, sometimes you do gain money. It depends how much there is, but I include it as a line, but I never account for it. And I'm expecting a £5 refund from Amazon. So if I just use my calculator. So we've got 93 plus 9 plus 507. Okay. So £107 is what I'm expecting for this 7-day period. In terms of bills, I have pet insurance, which is £15.61. I think that is coming out on the 5th. Lockbox, again, I think is coming out on Monday, which is also the 5th. Patreon should be the 1st, I think. Prime again, I think is the thirst. YouTube Premium, I wasn't sure whether this was going to come out either on the 8th or the 7th or the 8th, so I've included it in there. They've actually already taken the funds for it, so that one we're going to ignore. And again, same for Spotify actually, because I'm not sure... Oh, just knocking the camera. Because I'm not sure... No. Let's put Spotify down for the 7th. Let's budget it in so it's there, and if it's taken, it's taken, and if it's not, then we will put it onto next week's budget. And Canva is a new one I'm adding. I'll be purchasing that on the 1st, and that is $10.99. So that is 1561 plus 10 plus 120 plus 7.99 plus 10.99 plus 9.99. So that's £55.78 on essential bills. Okay, so now I need to do 107 take 55.78, which leaves me £51.22 left over for the week. Okay, so my standard categories on a week are food, fuel, cat, coffee, spendy spends, which is what I call my spending, and then online spending because I spend online. You can see where I've penciled in some ideas. The reality of this is not going to be the case based on the fact that I have 51.22. So I think food needs to be 10. I have half a tank in my car and I am currently off work this week. So let's go 10 just in case. So that leaves me 31. The cat can get 5, which leaves me 26. I may go for coffee with a friend, which leaves me 6 based on the current thing. So that leaves me 20. So I either go let's put nothing in because I'm not out in spendy spend, which is my in-cash spending, and let's put 20 on an online spend, which should be £51, I hope. Yep. Leaving me 22p. So that's what we have this week. This is not... well, this might be typical actually. What I tend to do is on both paydays, so twice a week, twice a month, I will do a big food shop. I will fill my car back up to full from wherever it is, and I will do a little bit larger spending. Again, this is the first time where I'm trying this. So these numbers feel really, really low, but it is ultimately just me. I have food. I have petrol in my car. The cat has food. I may see a friend for coffee, but actually I do very much feel where if you are off sick from work, you shouldn't really be out and about. That's just a personal preference. And again, online spending, if I'm not really meant to be out and about, I shouldn't have any cash spending on me. And I know I've got things in my Amazon basket that I want to buy. So there's £20 there set aside for an online spend. So I'm not going to be doing a cash stuffing for this week. And I'm really glad I have that rollover. But that does therefore mean that there's going to be nothing budgeted for sinking funds at all. So nothing there. Still got 22p left over. Nothing going to extra debt this week that is planned. Nothing on my extra debt total. still got 22p left over, so let's do 22p into the 1p challenge. Again, any change that I have taken from these categories, I will do the 1p challenge in. At the minute, that's the only real savings challenge that I've got planning to go on, so therefore we are done. So that's not very exciting, but again, I'm also working on the assumption that all of these come out this week, and I don't know realistically if they are. I have tried to go through and look back at my online statement, but when you don't pay things on time or you pay them late, all it's doing is showing me the last time I paid them, which may not necessarily be when they're due. So that is my week 1 budget. Again, you won't see a lot of my main bills until the middle to the end of the month, because at the minute that's where they're structured, which is around when I get paid. Again, the freelancing is new. This is only the second invoice that I've done. They've paid the first one quite promptly, so let's just hope they pay that. But that's an average of £100 a week, depending on quantities. So that now is my September bill budget for the 1st to the 7th of September. Okay. So let's bring this back in for now, and 21 minutes. Let's have a quick look at sinking funds. So I have 2 binders. This one is just one that I found from Wilkinson's, and it is lovely and it is empty. So I do need to get some more envelopes. I think this may become long-term / larger savings, but I'm not sure yet. But it's lovely. I had it already, so let's do it. This is my annual / awful attempt at letterwork. Graphic design was never a skill of mine. This is my, I think, annual spendings sinking fund folder. And again, I just had some fun last night in front of the TV, and this so far is what we have. I think there may be more. There's going to be more. That's a lie. There will be more. And this is just something I had fun doing. I would like to get a month ahead on certainly my rent. Core bills, that would be ideal. So I have an envelope for 1 month over. All of my technology is broken in some form or another. My iPad is literally held together with sellotape, and I cannot shut the top screen on my laptop because it will all fall apart. And my phone, whilst okay, is very basic for a smartphone. So I'd like to replace some technology at some point in the next 12 months. The iPad certainly will need replacing. Car funds, this covers everything from a not new model, but a new car, because I am driving an 18-year-old banger with over 100,000 miles. She is lovely, my car. She's running really, really well for the age, but I'm conscious of the fact that I have an older car, and it's very much affecting how much I drive as well. But also things like car MOT, servicing, things like that. I'd like to eventually get to annual car insurance. So I have a car funds, which is just covering everything to do with my car. The house, so I rent my house. I have a 24-month contract. I've already been here 2 years, and my hope is that actually I can, at the end of the 24-month period, have another year on, because by that point my debt relief order will be off my credit file, and I'll be able to actually start planning long term about where I want to live. Whilst I like this area and I grew up in it, it is not where I foresee myself living for the rest of my life, and I'm in my 30s. Well, I am 30, so I've got things to plan and get on with. So things for the house covers things like it gets really cold in winter, so I'd like to swap out the lace curtains with some heavy velvet curtains, and things like a heated area and any kind of artwork and things like that for the walls. I'd like to have fund for that. So that's there. My cat, he has pet insurance, and he also has a pet plan with the local vets that covers things like vaccinations and flea treatment and stuff. However, I would like to have a bit in here to cover certainly the excess or the cost of an emergency vets. My birthday is in March every single year. Normally it is a scramble to be able to afford to do anything, and as I referenced earlier, I tend to avoid paying for things like my rent, and I will instead go away, which is a very bad habit, so I would like to get some savings. Holiday, not annual leave. There are no plans for a holiday in the next 12 months at least, but I would like to be able to start putting something away in case I see the option for a weekend break somewhere or a good deal. It's not really a priority of mine. I think that with the amount of money that I owe family, it's becoming harder to justify things like holidays and trips and days out when I owe them what I owe them. So I have a holiday folder, it's not a priority. Christmas, if anything, is the big one. Now, thanks to some excellent timing by both my parents and my grandparents, I have my siblings' birthdays are 2 days apart in the beginning of November. I then have Christmas, and I then have my parents' birthdays a week apart in February. Whichever divine individual in the universe determined that really needs their head examined, because it means that for 4 months of the year, I'm forking out for presents. 3 months of the year, actually, goodness me. Now, the good news is I've already sorted out siblings' birthdays. I have purchased throughout the year, and I will need to fund Christmas very quickly. I like typically to be done with Christmas by September. I suspect that's not happening. So that is Christmas. So for now, those are my sinking funds. They're not in any order of priority yet, and we will revisit this when I actually have cash to stuff in. But yeah, so that to date is September's budget, a brief look at my sinking funds, and also my September overview. I'm not going to look at any amounts or anything that I would like for these just now. We're up to 26 minutes, nearly 27 minutes, so I think that is long enough considering I'll just be uploading, not editing. So no cash stuffing. If you do have any comments, please feel free to leave them down below in the comment box just down there. If you would like to go ahead and subscribe, then that would be lovely, but again, there's no obligation to. There's no real obligation to watch either, but if you've made it 27.5 minutes in, then why not? But anyway, I'm going to go. I'll see you in the next video. I need to have a think about what that one's going to be. I got a very spur of the moment thing, and I've recorded my September first day budget and my debt confession in the same day, and now I'm a little bit mentally drained again. So I'm going to shoot off. This has been Not Another Budget. Thank you so much for watching. I'm Nicole, and I will see you next time.